Hello! In this lesson we'll show you how to make smart use of roles in Foleon. When following some of these best practices, you can trust anybody to create Foleon Docs while staying on brand. You might be involved in a team, you work collaboratively with 2-3 more colleagues, and you don't want others to mess with the design, to be able to delete docs, create new docs, or maybe change something in a doc. Of course, Foleon has several user role types available to you to help you to do exactly that. We'll go over the roles, we'll look at 2 example workflows, and we'll end with some biggest differences and best practices. Let's have a look at the user type roles. There are several available to you that help you make sure that your colleagues have the appropriate access. Also help you to have peace of mind and smoothen your content creation workflow. We have the admin, who is everything but your content creator. We have the publisher, who is like your editor-in-chief, your project manager. We have the designer, your brand component manager. The editor, who is your typical Foleon Docs creator. And the author, who contributes copy. Now let's go over 2 common use cases to help illustrate how you can consider using these roles to your advantage. Let's say you want to create white papers, send them off to your audience. It all starts with ideation and planning. The marketing team typically owns this stage. Of course, the ideas for content, they can come from any other team, any other colleague. But marketing typically starts this by organizing a meeting with creatives. Then we go into the creation stage where the text and the visuals are added by the editor. Of course, all using the Foleon Doc templates that are previously created by the designer, almost in a 0 phase. Preview, make sure that looks like intended, works like intended. Think about the buttons, the videos, etc. In the review stage, you ask other colleagues for feedback on the Foleon Doc. The publisher then does a final quality check and publishes the Foleon Doc itself. And distribute, where you also promote the doc and you learn from reader behavior. It's imaginable that they roll up into one single person. That's fine, of course. For example, with the editor and the publisher, they can be one person for sure, as long as you have a strong QA process in place. Let's look at another example where you intend to deliver a sales or commercial proposal. Again, it all starts with creation, where the editor puts together a doc based on those designers' templates. The editor also checks that all the information is added correctly. The publisher then does a final quality check, publishes the doc. And of course, the sales colleague sends the proposal to the prospect and measures reader engagement. Of course, workflows like these are different in different organizations, in different contexts. And you probably know what workflow fits your organization best. Now let's look at some of the biggest differences. The admin typically takes care of all platform level administration. Think about platform configuration like SSO, of course user management, workspace management. He is your team leader, your power user. The publisher then, editor-in-chief or your project manager. The publisher is responsible for the quality, is responsible for the docs themselves. They usually are the one person to publish Foleon Docs. And they manage content. The role content operations, content ops, is usually associated with the publisher. The designer then is responsible for the building blocks of Foleon Docs. The designer is responsible for making sure that all the content is on brand. So in practice, they manage the brand components, the media assets, the templates, the fonts, and the themes. They usually do not publish. The editor has again less responsibilities than the previous roles. And the editor is your typical doc creator. Within a project, they are able to create, edit, delete docs, etc. Finally then, the author contributes the copy of Foleon Docs. In this way, the designer can trust that the writer, the author doesn't mess up with the design of the doc, making sure the doc doesn't go off brand. And this is convenient for the author too, so they are not bothered by any unnecessary bells and whistles when they are editing. And editing the copy is also very straightforward. This is the full set. We always, of course, look to improve how roles in Foleon work. So some changes to this might come in the future. We looked at the user roles. We looked at some examples in 2 example workflows. We looked at the biggest differences between the roles. And now to round it up, let's have a look at the set of best practices to help you put this into practice. Map out your content creation workflow and your governance structure. Define who should do what in your context, in your organization. When you have that clear, you allocate the user roles to your colleagues. Be conscious of who you give admin access. And finally then, if you want to know more, all the details about what each role can do, you can check out our help center.